Hello students, this is Sandeep Kumar Singh. I hope you all are fine and healthy. So today I am going to explain a very beautiful poem from class 10th, first flight standard, CBSE. So the name of the poem is A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris. So students, before proceeding towards the poem, let us see something about the writer. Leslie Norris, actually his full name was George Leslie Norris, and he was a prize-winning Welsh poet and short story writer. He was born on 21st May 1921 in UK. Actually, besides being a poet and a short story writer, he was also an academician. He taught at academic institutions in Britain and United States, including Brigham Young University. So students, the poem A Tiger in the Zoo, actually the main theme of the poem refers to the freedom of the wild animals. We human beings have used them relentlessly for our own entertainment, not thinking about the freedom of the animals, which gets curtailed. The tiger in the zoo is contrasted to tiger in its natural habitat. And mainly in this poem, the poem moves from the zoo to the jungle or the forest and back again to the zoo. So now let us see the poem line by line. He stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rack. You see here, he stalks. Stalks means, do you know? Stalks means to walk, to follow, okay? To walk. He stalks in his vivid strips. Vivid means what? The bright color. You might have seen tigers in the zoo, isn't it? So their colors are, so bright, so shiny, okay? So he stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage. So actually, in the present scenario, the tiger is in the cage in zoo, okay, and actually he walks, okay, in the cage with what? A very bright color strips on his body, which actually he was having, and he takes a very few steps because, as you know already, that cage is what? Very small in size, very limited space is there. So that is why he walks inside the cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rack. Here pads means, pads means paws of the tiger, okay, the feet part, and rag means anger, okay. Rag means what? Anger. So on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rack. That means that particular tiger, okay, he keeps on walking, he keeps on moving inside the cage with a very limited space which was given to him on his what? On his paws, okay, and he seems to be in anger mood, okay, as he was not having freedom. So in a nutshell, what we can say that, okay, here the poet says that the tiger is confined in the zoo, moves around in the cage under his bright colored skin. Okay, students, he further says that the tiger can take only a few steps because the cage is what? Very small, and it is not easy to move in it. One cannot hear his footstep because he has very soft feet like velvet cloths, okay, and that is why there is no sound of the tiger's footstep when he used to move, when he used to walk inside the cage. Okay, so no sound can be heard. The tiger tries to control his anger by quietly walking. Okay, he is walking what? Very quietly, very silently, as if he is trying to control his anger in the limited areas of his cage. And he is so angry because he is not free, isn't it? Actually, every human being or animals, everybody want to be free, isn't it? But here, the tiger is kept in a cage. So that is why, okay, he was very angry, okay, but he was trying himself to control his anger. So in the first stanza, the scenario is given of a tiger in a zoo, okay, which now we have seen. Now in the next stanza, we will see a tiger in its natural habitat, that is jungle or the forest. But before proceeding that, let us see the literary devices, okay, which is there in the first stanza. So you see, as per the rhyming scheme is concerned, as I have told you earlier also, okay, you just try to see the last word of each lines. So the last word of first line is what? Strips, okay. The next one is case. The next one is quiet. Then reg. Okay. Here case and reg, both the term is what? Matching, isn't it? It's rhyming. Case and reg, both the word is rhyming. So it is what? It is in the form of A, B, C, B. Okay. A, B, C, B. Here B is given 2 times because these 2 words in the first line, again in the what? That is in the second line, case, and in the last line, reg. These 2 words, case and reg, are rhyming. So that is why its rhyming scheme is what? A, B, C, B. Okay. So after that, we can see in the first stanza there is use of personification. Okay, the tiger is personified because the poet refers him as he, isn't it? In the stanza you can see that tiger is referred as he. So here the tiger is personifies. There is use of personification. Again there is use of metaphor, okay, figure of speech, that is implied comparisons. The tiger's paws are compared with velvet, isn't it? The paws of tigers are compared with what? Velvet, that is pad of velvet. So this is a metaphor. Again there is the use of enjambment can be seen. What is enjambment? Sentence is continuing to next line without any punctuation marks. You can see, isn't it? The first line, okay, again it moves to second, third. Only you can see that in the last line there is use of full stop. So the lines are continuing without the use of any punctuation mark. So there is use of an enjambment. Okay. Again we can see that there is a use of oxymoron, use of adjective opposite in meaning. You see, quite rag. Okay, in the last line, quite rag. This is what? This is adjective. Okay, which is used as an opposite in its meaning. Quite rag, isn't it? So this quite rag is what? This is oxymoron. Okay, so I hope the first stanza is clear. Now let us move to the next stanza. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. Here you see, he should be lurking. Lurking is a new word. Lurking means what? Do you know? Lurking means to be hidden, as if wait for your prey. Okay, to be hidden as to wait for your prey. Again there is a use of plump. Plump means what? Fat. Okay, very fat deers. Then sliding means moving very slowly. That is called sliding. So he should be lurking in shadow. He should be lurking in shadow. Here who? The tiger. Okay, here in the second stanza the total scene is depicted. Okay, the total scene is given when the tiger is in its natural habitat, that is forest or jungle. Okay, So he should be lurking in a shadow. Okay, he should be lurking means what? He should keep himself, okay, hidden, okay, inside the grass, in the long grass shrubs. Okay, just keep on waiting for the prey to come. Sliding through the long grass. Sliding means what? Sliding means moving very slowly, and at that very time the tiger keeps on, okay, moving very slowly, okay, just without being noticed by the what? Prey. Near the water hole, where the tiger will go? Near the water hole, where the plump deer pass. Actually, you know, the water bodies are the places where mainly the deers are found. Okay, they used to come there mainly to drink waters. So at that very place, that means at the water bodies, that particular tiger, okay, he will go through the grass very slowly, and he will hide there, okay, and he will keep on waiting there for the prey to come. And when prey will come, he will come out suddenly, okay, and he will try to catch the prey. Okay, students, so in a nutshell we can say that the poet, you know, says that if this tiger was free, okay, he would have hide himself behind the long grass near the water bodies, so that he could easily catch a deer in order to have it as its food. Okay, basically what's happened? Basically the poet wants to say that the actual life of a tiger is to live in jungle or forest, okay, where he could catch his prey and eat it, but the tiger in the cage cannot do so. Okay, so here the poet has given, okay, a scenario when a tiger used to be in the forest. Okay, so what sort of activity they will do in the forest. Okay, so now let us see the literary devices which are being used in second stanza. Again here also see, okay, just like the first stanza, the rhyming scheme is your A, B, C, B. Okay, here two words are rhyming, and these two words are, you can see, grass and pass. Okay, grass and pass. So this is your B, A, B, C, B. This is the rhyming scheme of this particular stanza. Again here also we can see that there is a use of enjambment. Okay, line continues to next line without punctuation marks. Okay, students, again there is a use of alliteration. Okay, that is what the sound of pa, okay, pa sound at the start of two words were used. We can see here the uses of the same sound, that is pa sound, okay, at the start of two words. Which are the two words? You can see here plum and pass. Okay, here plum and the pass, both these two words are, okay, nearby words, and both are having the pa sound. So that is why there is a use of alliteration. Again here also we can see that there is a use of imagery. Okay, the poet has tried to create an image of tiger's activity in the forest. Okay, that poet has tried his level best to create an image of tiger's activity. So there is a use of imagery. Okay, so now let's proceed to the next stanza. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, bearing his white fence, his claws, terrorizing the village. You see, he should be snarling. Okay, a snarling means what? You know, warning sound made by the animals. It's a typical type of sound which is being produced by the tigers just to warn the other animals or the human beings, whoever there. Okay, so here snarling, it's a typical sound. The word itself gives an sound. So this is what, do you know? This is called onomatopoeia. Okay, this is called onomatopoeia. So he should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge. Okay, now here again the same scene is given, that when this tiger, they used to be in a forest. Okay, so here edge means what? Edge means what we can say boundary. Okay, when forest get ends, okay, then what? Their villages were there. Okay, and the people used to be there for doing the farming. Okay, so he should be snarling around the houses at the jungle's edge, near the jungles, near the forest. Okay, if village is there. Okay, so what happened at that time? These tigers, they used to come. Okay, just near at the edge of the forest, at the last boundary or at the last border of the forest. Okay, and what he used to snare. Okay, snarling, that means he used to produce a typical type of sound just in order to warn the people. Okay, to show his presence. Okay, bearing his white fangs, his claws. Bearing means what? Exposing. Okay, uncovered. Bearing his white fangs. Fangs means what? Fang means sharp tooth of the animals. Okay, his claws, the nails, okay, of his hand, paws, claws. So bearing his white fangs. Okay, so he used to come near the edge of the forest and he used to expose. Okay, shows his teeth and his claws, terrorizing the village, just in order to make the people afraid of him. He wants to show his presence there. Okay, near at the edge of the forest, so that the people will get terrorized of him. Okay, so here again in the nutshell, if we see its meaning, that then the poet says that if the tiger would have been free, okay, and he would have snared around the houses located at the outskirts of the forest, so he would have terrorized the people, isn't it, with his sharp tooth and claws. So this would create a fear among the people living in the village. Okay, students, I think you got it. Now let us see the literary devices which are being used in this stanza. Again, here you can see that the rhyming scheme is your A, B, C, B. Okay, here also two words are rhyming, that is edge and village. So there is a use of rhyming scheme called A, B, C, B. Again, here also we can see that there is a use of enjambment. Okay, line continues to next line without punctuation marks. Okay, and as I have told that there is a use of onomatopoeia. Okay, you see the word snarling. Okay, using the words which denotes the sound. The word particular itself denotes the sound. So this is called onomatopoeia. Okay, I think it's clear to you. Now let's proceed to next. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. You see, but is there, isn't it? Question mark is there. Why there is but? Why there is question mark? Because actually the things which have been given in stanza 2nd and 3rd about the activities of the tiger which he would be doing if he is set free in the forest. But the thing is that right now he is not free, isn't it? Right now he is kept in a cage in the zoo where the space is very limited, but he is locked in a concrete cell. At the right moment, what we can say, that particular tiger is locked, okay, in a concrete cell. Concrete, concrete walls which are being made by the help of what? Cement, bricks, stones. Okay, so that hard concrete wall. So but he is locked. Okay, he is totally locked in a concrete cell, in a cage. His strength behind bars. Okay, so whatever stamina, whatever strength, okay, he was having, everything is only behind the bar itself, because he is unable to come outside. Okay, so he is already confined into that cells, stalking the length of his cage. Stalking means, stalking means what we can say, that walking slowly, as I have told you in the stanza 1. Okay, stalking the length of his cage in the cage itself, where the space is very limited. At there only that that tiger is walking, and he's walking very slowly. Okay, ignoring the visitors. You might have seen, we people also used to go to the zoo, isn't it, to see the animals. So actually what? So they are already being aware that yes, people used to come to see us. So but actually, in fact, they used to ignore the visitors. Okay, they are not interested to see the we people who used to go there to see them. Okay, they used to ignore the visitors. Clear? So here mainly we can see that if we discuss in a nutshell, so the poet comes to the reality of the tiger that is inside the cage. He says that the tiger is confined in a strong cell, okay, which is made of strong building material, and here the tiger is behind the bars. So his ferociousness, okay, so his ferociousness is also behind the bar itself. He just stalks, he just walks in the cage. He never tries to terrorize the visitors, which actually he used to do in the forest, isn't it? But at the right scenario, in the case, he is not at all interested, or he is not going to terrorize the visitors, because his power is restricted by the cage, and that is why he never tries to terrorize the visitors, as he cannot attack them. Okay, students, I think you got it. So now let us see the literary devices which are being used in this stanza. Again, here we can see that rhyming scheme is your A, B, C, B. Two words are rhyming words, that is bars and visitors. Okay, that is why B is common, A, B, C, B. And again here also we can see that there is a use of alliteration, use of sound ba. Okay, ba sound is at the start of two words. Which are the two words? Behind and bars. Okay, so now let us proceed towards the fifth and the last stanza. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. You see, he hears the last voice at night when tiger is in the zoo. So at night time, he used to hear the last voice. Whose voice? The voice of the patrolling cars. You might have seen in the zoo also. Okay, mainly the security personnels at night, they used to move, okay, throughout the zoo by their vehicles to just see that whether the animals are in their cage or not. Okay, so that is why it has been told here, patrolling cars. So he hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars. Okay, there is a last voice, and stares with his brilliant eyes. And he stares, he looks, okay, with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Brilliant means, shiny, okay, twinkling, sparkling eyes at the brilliant star. He used to look above, okay, in the sky, okay, just towards the stars, okay, those brilliant, those twinkling, those shining stars, okay, he used to look towards them. So here mainly, we can see that the poet says that in the night the tiger hears the sounds of the patrolling cars. Patrolling cars are the vehicles of police which are used to guard at night. Okay, so in the night the tiger hears the sounds of these cars. Okay, he then stares at the shining stars with his shining eyes. Okay, the poet wants to say that he is sad. Okay, here you can see that that particular tiger is so sad, and the poet here wants to say that he is sad, and as he is confined in the cage, so he cannot do anything, and therefore he keeps on staring at the stars. Actually, he loves freedom. Okay, he wants freedom, and it's a fact, animals are not supposed to be kept in a cage. Okay, they should be left free, and they should be in the forest. And over here you can see that people have put him into the cage, so he is admiring the beauty. So he is admiring the beautiful stars. He is thinking about the most awaited freedom. Okay, actually he keeps on thinking, okay, isn't it, to get the freedom. So nothing to do, okay, as he was already inside the cage, so he was looking towards those twinkling stars and thinking about his freedom, okay, about his awaited freedom, that when he will get freedom. So students, here you can see, okay, that the theme of what we can say a sort of cruelty towards the animal is given here, okay. And of course poaching should be fully banned. And of course nowadays in our country, okay, poaching has been totally taken out of the country, okay. So here also you can see the literary devices, throughout the poem we have seen that there is a use of rhyming scheme that is called A, B, C, B. Here also two words are rhyming, okay, that is one is your cars and second is stars, okay. So there is use of A, B, C, B, okay. And again there is enjambment, continuity of the line without given any punctuation mark. Again there is use of alliteration, okay, use of the sound ha sound, okay, in the story of the two words, okay. And these two words are he and hears. So you have seen here how the contrast, okay, has been shown about the tiger which used to be in a zoo, and again the tiger which is there in its natural habitat, that is called jungle or the forest. So that's all about the chapter. I hope you enjoyed it, okay, and you have understood. So students, if you like my videos, please do subscribe to my channel, and please share it so that the other students can also have access to my content. Thank you.